What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Alone, show, a survival reality competition show where 10 people, survival quote unquote experts, go to an isolated place, each have their own kind of, 5 mile radius kind of buffer zone, or 10 mile, probably 10 miles between each person, it seems like. I don't know. But they're like far away from each other, but given similar resources, so they all have a equal chance of winning. And these people go out there on their own. I mean, they get to take some tools and food, and just like not food, but I think they can there's some different clothes and different. They can bring some stuff. It's not like Naked and Afraid or anything like that. So they go out, and it's just whoever survives the longest wins $500,000. So you get $500,000 if you don't quit. And they're all given, the GPS phone, satellite phone, I got to give up phone. And it's a show that I started watching a few years ago in motels on the way to and then the way back from Denver. It's on the History Channel, but I kept watching it on Hulu, the shows on Hulu, and it's just, I really enjoy it because it's got a mix of like those survival shows, like Dual Survival or Man vs. Wild even, which I enjoy those shows. But the competition aspect of it I enjoy because it's like, first off, it seems like it's more real, these people, and the show like explicitly quote unquote experts when they describe their survival experts, because they're definitely well versed in different survival methods, but to varying degrees when put to the test. Kind of similar to like, just because you own a gun doesn't mean you know how to use it in a high pressure situation. Like, a lot of these people know how to survive, sure, but are they going to thrive out in the wild without any like going through the winters? They last long, man. I wish I had pulled up how long these people last, but it counts through the days, and it's just a fun show. So they did season 5 I watched recently, which is kind of their best of their top, not necessarily top performers from previous seasons, but just people that actually need it. It's a redemption season. So kind of like how Matt Serra became a champion in the UFC. He went through the Ultimate Fighter redemption and got a chance to fight GSP, which nobody thought he would win, but he did. So this is humans versus nature, nature being GSP, and let's just say nature always wins. But they try and go for as long as they can in nature. And these are people that, for one reason or another, didn't win in their previous seasons. One of the guys was catching tons of fish but wasn't eating it. He was prepping too much for winter time and became too thin, and the doctors, they do periodic physicals and checkups to make sure that the people are alive or whatever. And during one of those, he just lost too much weight and they had to pull him for medical reasons. And then there's other people that pulled out for different reasons. They had done a couple seasons, I think, where they have 2 people that are matched up together to survive together, which makes it easier to survive because you're not the alone part of the show. Is an interesting layer because you get to see people kind of go crazy. Like, all the seasons start off with the people being selected and going through basic survival training just to make sure that they know about the area they're going to. And then also they're trained in how to do all the camera work because they are filming. They are alone. There's no camera crews. So they have to learn how to do all the camera work and set up the cameras and frame the cameras right and make sure they got good audio and all kinds of shit. So there's another layer to the survival when it comes to that because they also have to take all of the equipment. But it's just, I don't know, man. If you've ever caught yourself watching, there's a guy, Primal Survival Technique guy on YouTube, where it's just you just watch him build like a log cabin, and it's all edited together. But you get to see like how you would build a log cabin out in the forest from scratch. So you get that element from this show too, or at least I do, which is just interesting to see. And they all kind of have different techniques and how they do it, like how they build their shelters, how they deal with fire, how they deal with food, what they eat, what they hunt, what food types of foods they harvest, whether they're more plant-based foods, some vegans on the show, or just people that will eat anything. One of the dudes in this season had to leave, spoilers, because he couldn't find food, so he just decided to start eating pine bark, which is something you can like scrape the bark off, and then once you get down to like the fleshy part of the tree, you can like scrape like beef jerky size chunks off of it and eat it, and it's supposed to have a bunch of vitamin C. And like there's throughout the show they put educational pop-ups like this food source provides you with X and X amount of protein, and this tribe was known to eat it and survived for this amount of years. So it's interesting. You get to learn stuff, which I didn't stick with enough to regurgitate for this episode, but there is that layer to the show as well. But the dude who was eating tree bark ended up getting constipation. I mean, slightly too much fiber, I guess, and just maybe dehydration mixed with that. But he was having stomach cramps, and like, it's they're out in the wilderness, so it's like if your guts explode, you can't go to the hospital. It's the opposite. He just needed coconuts. He needed fruit. He needed something that would be a natural diuretic to get that shit out of him. But he couldn't. He had to quit. Another one. Spoilers. Somebody I was pretty excited to actually watch in the season went out fairly early because she was fishing. Like they're able to, one of the things, they have some fishing gear, or maybe they have the option to bring fishing gear. So she had hooks and she was fishing, and while trying to get the fish that she caught out of the water and onto the shore so where she could take the hook out, the fish flopped free from the hook. The hook dug deep into her hand, like into the meat between the thumb and the index finger of her hand, and she just couldn't get it out. She couldn't get it out, and infection would probably set in eventually. And this was like early. This was early. Like they're not even close to, like, they all kind of start probably around end of summertime, it seems like. So then you see, they go into the fall, and then they go into winter. And I don't think anybody's won through winter. I don't know. But there's been people that have been highly successful at this show and made it look effortless, which is interesting. But yeah, she got the hook in her hand. She couldn't get it out. And she tried, pushing it through to cut the thing out so you could, and nothing was working. And she had to, like, just the smallest thing can get you pulled. Bug bites, just infections, lack of food. It's just, I enjoy the show. It's, on top of the survival thing, it's just super interesting as far as just watching how people act when they're on their own, and how they deal with being alone, how they deal with, setbacks and problems. I don't know. Just the whole show I enjoy so much. 5 seasons on Hulu. I would recommend it if you're into those kinds of shows, survival shows, and you haven't checked it out yet. I think this is probably one of my favorite, like the structure of it being a competition and everything. It makes them push, man. It makes them push. And the winner of season 5, I really enjoyed his win. And at the very last, when they find that there is a winner, like, they surprise them, and it's usually loved ones coming from behind them to surprise them, to tell them that they won, that they've been out, for 6 months or whatever, and they're not dead yet. But yeah, that's it for this episode of the Ray Taylor Show. Go watch Alone. New episodes of my show come out daily. Subscribe on IGTV and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. InspiredDisorder.com for all of my original artwork. Go buy some now at Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.